Hey, we are live. It is late, 9:45 on a Saturday night. I apologize for being late. Today just got out of hand. And Saturdays I wasn't sure when the best time to go live would be. Obviously, 9:45 is not the greatest time to go live because you all have lives, and some of you might be going to bed, all that stuff. But the time that I was usually go live, we were at soccer, and it was just a fun, crazy day. So I'm going live, and this is late, and you guys will mostly probably see this on the replay, so I won't be offended if people aren't on the live. Dave, you are on. Good to see you, brother. So tonight I want to talk about how you can use stories to increase the perceived and the actual value of your products and services, okay? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's roll. Okay, so again, this is a late night live, Saturday Night Live with Nick Fitzgerald, the Friendly Giant. So I wanted to just apologize again for that. I will figure out a Saturday time and stick to it. But I hope you guys have had a great day. Mine was full of some studying and working this morning. And then we went to soccer. We had a long trip. We had an hour drive to the game. We had the game, and then another hour drive back, and then I had to mow the lawn, and all sorts of stuff. So I got sunburnt. I don't know if you can really tell because my lighting is not the greatest, so it's hiding it. But I want to just talk about tonight. This has been so much fun. First of all, how have you guys been enjoying the content? If you have, I need you to go in the comments and tell me what your favorite part has been so far, what your greatest lesson that you've learned is, and just fill it with, hearts and all of those kinds of things. And also to comment and let me know what you would love for me to cover next. I'm taking tomorrow off from the lives. I'm going to do some other things to get structured and ready for the upcoming week because I've got a full week again ahead of me. And so if you have a topic or a business or a funnel type or things like that you would like to see me show you how stories are used to make money in those areas, I am happy to do that. So tonight is more of a broad approach, like I said, about how to use your stories to increase the actual and the perceived value of your products and services. So whether you're selling, I have a few examples of, I have a couple that I'll show you of, physical, tangible things. And then I have a great example of a service that is just cool. You can use it in any type of business, okay? So before I dive fully into that, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys watch YouTube videos and consume content that isn't about business? It's just like you watch fail compilations or funny cat videos or things like that. Do any of you consume that kind of content, or are you all just so super focused and super driven that you only consume things that further your business? The reason I ask that question is because even in those simple, brainless, or things that are mundane or have no bearing on furthering you in your education or your development as a person or in your business and things like that, there are stories woven in all of that kind of stuff. And so as you start to see the world through the lens that I see it through, you see some of these funny things, and it's amazing. Like some of those things that go viral, they make somebody a millionaire overnight, or a celebrity instantaneously because of something epically awesome, major fail, something hilarious, or something really embarrassing, or they run the gamut. But like they're still like this one little piece of them catapults them to the front. And they have a platform, and then we get to know the people, right? And it's just incredible. And you can do the same thing with your products and with your services in a way. Now, you can go literally and try to make something viral, like a Harmon Brothers video. My brain is tired. Or things like that towards a specific topic or a specific product. Yes, you can do that. But then there's also, just using the stories to get your products out there and just get people to engage with it, right? So it finally popped up on my phone. I apologize for that. So what I'm getting at here is that when you are intentional, like we talked about yesterday, you have a purpose to your stories, a journey that you're wanting to take the people on, you have a result, what you want them to feel, think, or do, then it's easier to build the story to support it. So what if you have, you're selling cars, or you're selling clothes, or you're selling soaps, or you're selling customer service or coaching or things like that? How can you make those things more interesting and tell a story? If you have a company that you follow or things like that you love, and that you've seen them tell stories or about their brand, and then you buy whatever product that they offer because you love them and their story, share them in the comments. I'd love to go explore and see the kinds of companies that you guys are obsessing over and that you love seeing and stuff. So with sharing your stories to increase the perceived or the actual value of an item. So let's just start. Let's go right to the movies. With the Goonies, okay? Sorry. With the Goonies, what is the story of the Goonies? We have this group of kids who have been friends. They call themselves the Goonies, and they go on these adventures, and they're trying to save their homes. The developer's going to come in and wipe them all out, and they're going to lose their homes and all of these kinds of things. And so the kids go on this treasure hunt because they hope that they can get enough money to save their homes, right? And it's funny, the reason that they even started is because they heard a legend of a story about One-Eyed Willie, right? And that he had buried treasure. And so it was something that their dad had told them, these stories, and they were just, a lot of people just thought of them as kids' bedtime stories, right? But Mikey, he believed them so deeply because he could tell his father did too. And so he started to look into it, and they found a map. And they decided to go on this hunt. And they went through all sorts of things. They went to dead ends. They thought that they were going to die. They thought that they found it, but then it didn't happen. And eventually, they're being chased by the Fratellis, right? And eventually, they find One-Eyed Willie's treasure, right? And they're able to save the thing. That money was there all along, right? The money, the treasure was there all along, and for hundreds of years it sat hidden, and nobody knew or nobody believed that it existed, from the legends and things like that. But it just took one person to believe, and he went to work. He got his friends to believe and to go along with him on the journey, and they changed their lives and they changed the world, right? So the example you can see from the Goonies is that, and that you can see with your business, is like, you have these stories, you have these things that you can connect to your products, your services, what you're doing, that have always been there. They've just been buried, or you don't believe that you have one, or you're talking to yourself negatively and not believing that you have something worthy of sharing, or you just don't know how to connect things to your product or service. But I promise you, it's there right now. Like, whenever you're watching this right now, live, then you have that story and you have that inside of you. And I just want to kind of show you a couple of examples of some stuff. So first, I'm going to start with this. I've got props today. What do you guys think? So this is a navy blue hoodie, right? But there's something special about this. Does anybody see this patch here? This is FDNY, okay? A New York City Fire Department hooded sweatshirt. Now let me tell you the story behind this sweatshirt. Sweatshirts, are they very expensive? No. You can get a good one for like 20 or 30 bucks, and then they go up from there depending on the quality and things like that, right? So a blue hooded sweatshirt with a patch with FDNY on it. Now let me tell you the story behind how I got this hoodie. So some of you may know my father is a firefighter. He has been a firefighter for 30 years now, I think. And he's just done lots of incredible stuff. And he's always been a hero to me, like, you know, knowing he's a firefighter, and he's literally a hero to people, saving their lives and saving property and all these kinds of things as a firefighter. But also just his example as a dad, as a husband, and just a guy. He's just an amazing guy. And any of you who know him know that that is absolutely true about Bob Fitzgerald. Okay, now he was, he's been a firefighter for a long time, and most of you remember or have heard about the September 11th attacks in 2001 in New York City and Washington. And he felt, so after it, the loss of life and, loss of firefighters especially, he felt that void of losing his brothers, right? And so he wanted to be able to do something to give back to the firefighters, the firefighting community, especially with FDNY, and to their families. And so he went and got T-shirts made up and all sorts of trinkets and things like this, and he wanted to go around and sell these things and then keep all the money to give to the fire department to use. And so he created, it was called the Fallen Fund. There he got one of, I think it was Pierce, is the fire engine manufacturing company that they donated an engine for them to use and put custom decals on it for September 11th, and it was just super cool. And then like one of the local RV dealers donated an RV, and some Dodge dealerships donated some vans, and he got some firefighters and a few other people, and they drove literally across the United States selling these things, these T-shirts, these like little patches and coins and things like that, and kept the proceeds and literally drove across the country and went to New York City and delivered the money to them. And when they did, the fire department gave my dad some things. You're right. They gave him some memorabilia as well. And this sweatshirt was one of the things that he received. And he got it for me, and like my other siblings have one as well. And I wore this all the time when I got it. Because you know why? This type of stuff is not something you can buy. You can't go to a store and buy this. Or I don't know what it's like now, but at the time, you could not buy merchandise like this. This is official FDNY apparel that the firefighters would wear, that they got when they get their uniform stuff. Now, the fact that you cannot buy that in stores, and that it's just, it's something that only an elite group of people can have. This $30 sweatshirt is now worth a lot more. Do you see that? Do you see the story that is connected to it? I can just say, hey, my dad went to New York and he's a fireman, and he went and got some stuff from one of the fire stations and gave me a shirt. Like I think I got one shirt when I was young, it was a hand-me-down of an old shirt that my dad had from his firefighting days. They have the t-shirts and stuff. The public, they don't let the public walk around wearing those kinds of things. And I have one of their hoodied sweatshirts. So do you see how the story increases the perceived and the actual value of this, sweatshirt? Let's see. Let me look at the tag. This is old. This is a 20-year-old shirt. It's a Hanes Comfort Blend hooded sweatshirt that is, let's see, 50% polyester, 50% algodon. I don't even know what that is. Or 50% cotton, 50% polyester. I was reading in a different language. But this 50% cotton, 50% polyester hooded sweatshirt is now worth a lot more, isn't it? Because there's a story that goes through. It's from the actual firefighters in New York City. The public don't get to wear. Do you see how that story increases the value? One, it's just got a great story, so the perceived value, the sentimental value, the way that it connects to your heart is high. But then also, it's a rare thing. The public doesn't get to buy these or wear stuff like that. So its actual value increases because of its scarcity as well. Do you see that? Okay? That's one example. So, do you see that? Like, in the comments, go and tell me if that makes sense. Give the emojis and all those kinds of things, so that I know that this is making sense to you. It's simple. It's really simple, but like that one thing took a regular hoodie and made it something that people would want and that people would pay for to have because it's a rare commodity. Okay. So the next example I have for you, I'm going to read it. It's a story. Does everybody know who Zappos is? They are an online shoe company that has incredible service. Like they go above and beyond to take care of their clients and their customers. And so this is a story from the CEO, Tony. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Hsieh. This is a story that he told a couple years ago. I'm going to grab a drink and then I'm going to share this story about the power of storytelling with a brand and a company. Okay, so this is kind of become a story that's synonymous with the brand. It's called The Pizza Story, and so I'm going to read it. It just shows. Well, I'll read the story and then we'll kind of talk through how that works. With value. So it says, I'm reminded of a time when I was in Santa Monica, California a few years ago at a Skechers sales conference. After a long night of bar hopping, a small group of us headed up to someone's hotel room to order some food. My friend from Skechers tried to order a pepperoni pizza from the room service menu, but was disappointed to learn that the hotel we were staying at did not deliver hot food after 11 p.m. We had missed the deadline by several hours. In our inebriated state, a few of us cajoled her into calling Zappos to try to order a pizza. She took us up on our dare, turned on the speakerphone, and explained to the very patient Zappos rep that she was staying in a Santa Monica hotel and really craving a pepperoni pizza, that room service was no longer delivering hot food, and she wanted to know if there was anything Zappos could do to help. The Zappos rep was initially a bit confused by the request, but she quickly recovered and put us on hold. She returned 2 minutes later, listing the 5 closest places in the Santa Monica area that were still open and delivering pizzas at the time. Now, truth be told, I was a little hesitant to include the story because I don't actually want everyone who reads this book to start calling Zappos and ordering pizza. But I think it's a funny story to illustrate the power of not having scripts in your call center and empowering your employees to do what's right for your brand, no matter how unusual or bizarre the situation. As for my friend from Skechers, after that phone call, she's now a customer for life. Okay? So that is a cool story. They're at a Skechers conference. They went out drinking, and it was late, and they wanted pizza, but they couldn't get it from room service, and all this kind of stuff. Now that story proves and shows that for this company, they sell shoes online. There's no way that they should be fielding calls about ordering a pizza, let alone putting somebody on hold, going to work and finding information and telling them where they can go get a pizza, right? Like, so many businesses and companies have sales scripts, and if something like this comes in, they hang up, or they might toy around with them for a little bit, but they hang up, they don't help, they don't do it. Like, Zappos is known for their incredible customer service, for making sure that everything that their customer needs is taken care of. They'll do special shipping to get something to you for an event last minute. They go above and beyond. And that example took a person from Skechers, a high-level person at Skechers, a competing shoe company, right, and made them a lifetime customer because they called them and were able to get pizza. They weren't looking for shoes, right? So do you see how that story increases the value of the service that they provide for their customer base? It's huge. It's huge. Like, when you can tell stories like that, like, people hear that and it's like, oh my gosh. And I guarantee you tons of people probably called Zappos and wanted to order a pizza, or like testing them. But guess what? They deliver, they are consistent across the board with anything, and they help their customers get what they want and what they need. That the value of what they do, they could charge they could totally mark up their shoes to an insane level, but people will buy for them because they have the reputation and the stories and the legends behind the service that they provide, that people will pay it over and over and over and over again. I was pulling up, let me see if it says, if it shows numbers. I want to see if it talks about their annual revenue. Not seeing. Oh wait, let's see. Back in 2009, Amazon acquired Zappos for $1.2 billion. Okay? So that just... they built that legend and that brand up to that level because of that service, and these stories circulate and get out there, and people believe it and they test it, and then they see that it is actually true. Okay? So I have one more example that I want to show you guys, and this is awesome. So hang tight while I get this out. Okay. Are you excited? Any guesses before I do the big reveal? Any guesses? What am I about to reveal to you guys here? Any guesses? Go in the comments. Tell me what you think this is. And if somebody gets it right, then I have a cookie for you. Uh-oh. There's a hint. Oh, jeez. Here we go. Oh, you see this? This is a guitar. But this isn't just any old guitar. This is a Gretsch Duo Jet. It's a mid-60s Gretsch Duo Jet. Now, this is, like, you look at the body style, it's similar to what George Harrison played, except for this is a solid body. His was a hollow body with F-holes. Like, he did have a solid body too. But anyway, this is a very old electric guitar, and yes, it still works. I have an amp over here that goes along with it. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to hold this up here while I tell you this story about this guitar. I'm just going to throw it on like this. The strap is very short, so I feel like hey. So this guitar, I have called her Gretchen. I name all of my guitars, but this is Gretchen. And this guitar belonged to my grandfather, Garnet Fitzgerald. I never met him. He passed away before I was born. He was passed away before my parents got married. And this was his guitar. He bought it, and he was an amazing, incredible guitar player. My dad has some old tape recordings of him playing and telling stories and joking around and stuff. And it's just kind of fun to hear his personality and then to hear him play. I'm like, man, that dude was good. And so this guitar actually, it stayed in its case. I have the original case, the original leather strap, and I still have the strings. And these aren't the strings, but the strings that were on it that he last played on. And these are new strings because I've finally played it. But like, this sat in my grandma's basement for a long time, untouched, just in a corner. And once I started to play the guitar, did any of you even know that I played the guitar? That's kind of crazy, right? So when I started to show interest in playing the guitar and everything, my grandma let me take it home. And, it was an honor for me to be entrusted with it. But I know that some people didn't like the fact that I had it. But the thing that was great is like I didn't dare to touch it. I didn't want to break it. I thought it's old, right? And it was the guitar that my grandpa played, right? And it sat there for the longest time. I got married. I took it with me. It's been with me ever since. But I never played it for a long time. And then up until one day, my friend Don Strang, who's an amazing musician in his own right, was talking about it, and he's like, you got to play it, man. Like, old guitars need to be played. And don't be worried about breaking it or anything like that. It's been sitting in a case all these years, and it wants to be played. So I finally plugged it in that amp, and I started playing. And it was so cool how, one, I'd never played an electric guitar before, how different playing an electric guitar is versus an acoustic, which I mostly play. But the connection that I felt to my grandpa, even though I'd never met him in the flesh, I could feel it. And I feel it now, sitting here in my office, holding it in my lap. And it's an incredible feeling. And one day I started like researching, because I didn't know. I knew it was a Gretsch. I didn't know what kind of guitar it was, because it's not like a car where it's, where it says the model number or the model, make and model kind of thing, a Toyota Camry. It's not like that. Guitars usually aren't like that. Acoustics have, in the sound hole, there's a label where you can see what kind of guitar it is, right? This had nothing like that. No identifying marks on the front or the back. So I started doing research to just kind of say, I joined a couple of forums, I took pictures, I shared it, and people were drooling over it, like, oh my gosh, right? And so, yes, coach, I play the guitar. Pretty fun, huh? But so I started doing some research, and I determined I knew it was a Gretsch because it says it on the headstock. And I found out that I could find what type it was by taking the neck off to see the serial number and stuff. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to take anything apart because, one, how do I take the neck off of something like this? I'm guessing this is the access, this little thing. I'm not going to go through and try and rip that off and do it. So I was just like, no, this is worth so much to me and to the Fitzgerald family, all around the country, that I wasn't going to risk making a mistake and breaking something. So I just took pictures and put it on and said, can anyone help me identify this? And, it's got the two humbucker pickups and the whammy bar and all of this stuff, and it's just super cool. And somebody said, it looks like it's a mid-60s Gretsch Duojet. So I started, researching them and looking, and I'm like, okay, seeing other pictures, I'm like, yep. But in order to find out the exact year, I would have to get the serial number off of the neck, and I'm fine just knowing the era that it is from, right? And so that story, or I went through that, and then I was just like going, I wonder what something like this is worth. I know old guitars are cool, and especially like name brand guitars, like old Fender Strats are worth a lot of money and things like that. So I was just like, I wonder what this is worth. Not that I was looking to sell it. No, I was just like, if I was to get like it insured or something like that, what should I do? And I wasn't going to go stand in like a huge line at the Antiques Roadshow and ask and hope that I could get an answer, right? But it was, I did some research and I found a few auctions like that had finished for guitars that looked exactly like this. And or very, very similar. Each guitar has its own little nuances, right? But I was surprised to learn that this was, in the 5-figure range of value. And I was like, whoa, right? This thing was bought, I think, I'm going to look really quick. Hold on. My grandpa's original bill of sale might still be in the case. Let me check. See, look, I've got the last set of strings that he ever put on this thing. There were Fender regular and bright electric guitar strings. Flat wound. One second, let me set this down in the case for a moment. Okay, I think this has something inside. We shall see. Maybe I'm just imagining things that he kept it or that I saw it. No, these are just the individual string. The individual string things. Anyway, but this was something that was just a very small amount of money he spent to get this back in the day, right? And it sat after he passed away. It sat in my grandma's basement in the corner for years. Like he died, like 5 or 10 years before I was born, I think. I don't know. No, it was around 5 years before I was born, I think. But that it doesn't matter. But it sat there for years until I was like 17 that I was given possession of it. And then it sat for years after that, almost 10 more years, before I ever played it and had the guts to play it. And all of that time passed, and it was sitting there all along, and it had that, that I had that connection with my grandpa the first time that I played it. And I don't know if you could tell watching me relive and sitting here with it in my lap, reliving that experience. It's an emotional thing. But then I found out that its actual monetary value was really high as well. And so do you see how the stories, like if I was going to sell it, somebody's not going to pay me an extra couple $1,000s or something because of the connection I had with my grandpa, right? No, that's not going to, in the selling the product, isn't going to increase the literal value of it. It's already high value, but you can see that the story that I shared in connection to this thing, that its value is insane. So high that, I'd never sell this, and I would, it's not going anywhere, right? But let me set this down so that I can talk at you. Okay. So I've given you 3 different examples. One with an item of clothing, one with the service from a $1.2 billion company, and then a guitar. In each one of those, there was a story. And each one of those stories increased the value of the item or the service or the product. And if you came in late, when this is done, go and watch from the beginning. It took me a minute to get rolling because it's late and I'm exhausted. And so if you can get through the muddled stuff as I start rolling, you'll get to the good stuff, I promise. But, oh, thanks, Coach. And hey, Krista. Sorry, I get so wrapped up I don't look at the comments sometimes. But you can see that when you wrap your product and your services and things like that in a story, you increase the value of what you do, what you offer, what you're selling. You do. Whether it's intentional or not, and you need to be intentional. With what I do now with Friendly Giant Films is I help entrepreneurs find and tell their stories. And now I'm really doubling down and helping people focus those stories and find the stories that increase your bottom line and make you more money, right? In your business, because that's what we are here for as business owners, is to make more money and to serve more people. And when you tell your stories, that is possible. I didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to tell stories for people. No. I woke up broke, living in a family member's basement, without a camera of my own, with nothing. And I said, I want to create something that I enjoy and that I'm good at. And video was that thing that got me started. I borrowed a camera from my dad. I didn't have one. How was I going to start a video production company without a camera? I did. I borrowed one, and I saved my money until I had enough saved and tax returns to buy my first camera, my first DSLR, and start shooting video with it. And I've done so many amazing shoots with that. I've seen death and mayhem when I was shooting news. I've created corporate messages. I've seen weddings and people's lives come together. I filmed at a funeral, a tribute to a World War II veteran, a hero. You know, it took me all these amazing places. And then I got to work in films and be able to work with Hollywood actors and producers and directors and Oscar winners and Emmy winners and celebrities and people that I watched on TV, and, you know, Josh Hartnett and Sharon Stone, and, you know, all these types of people. I've got to rub shoulders, shake hands, have hugs, get to hang out with these people. All along the way, learning how to craft amazing stories. I'm not some fly-by-night dude who decided that he wanted to start a video production company, or just decided, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to tell stories and help people figure that out. I have been through the muck. I have stood in frozen tundras in the snow up in the middle of the mountains when we got 2.5 feet of snow in a 12-hour period, standing there watching a pine tree. I've done that. I've done all of the stuff that has put me in a place to learn and be able to tell stories, right? So you see, the story of my experience increases my value. Coach, if you're still watching, Matt, he is my son Ewan's soccer coach, and he is an incredible man. He works at the VA hospital, and he does incredible work serving those who have served us. And I don't know why I would get a little choked up here. But he is an incredible man who cares about people. He volunteers his time to coach not only one, but two soccer teams, like comp soccer teams, not your Saturday bunch ball soccer, like teaching tactics and skills and working with these young boys to help them get better in soccer, but then just to become good young men. And as a father, I see what he does. And I know that he's humble and he wouldn't boast or brag about it, but the value that he brings as a coach, as a former player at a high level, but that he is so committed to the sport and helping teach these young men to have these skills that one will help them, and some of them will play on in higher levels probably or possibly, or they will just learn discipline and things like that will shape them for the rest of their life. Do you see the value in that story and what he does now? Everybody has that. Your specialty, your business, your purpose, whatever it is that you're building, and it could be gum, for crying out loud. Your story, you can find stories to increase the value of it. Okay? You think of Coca-Cola. You think of the polar bears. You think of Santa, like those old ads, and all these kinds of things. It always loses to Pepsi in blind taste tests, but it makes more money than Pepsi because they have stories that have increased and built up a brand to have a certain amount of value that people just go to because. Now you can have that as well with your business, okay? Yes. If a volunteer comp soccer coach, if I can show you that the value of what he does is so high, he doesn't get paid a penny for it. He should get paid so much money for it. Not because he's greedy, but because of what he's doing in shaping my young son, my 11-year-old son, into a young man, and all of those things. That value is high. If one story can take this seemingly cheap 50% cotton poly blend hooded sweatshirt with an FDNY patch on it and make it worth $100 or more, if somebody drunk dialing a online shoe company looking for pizza and getting direction on how to get and find that pizza can help a company be bought by Amazon for $1.2 billion, or if this guitar that laid in the corner for years and years and years and years, untouched, unknown, just knowing that it was there and forgotten in some ways as well. What can you do with your story, with your brand, with your product, with your service? It's insane. Seriously, there are no limits to the value that you can add to your products and what you're doing with what you've already experienced and done in your life. You don't have to go and reinvent the wheel or come up with some new message out of thin air. You have it within you. You just need the guidance to find it and uncover it. So, I want to share one thing before I close. You need a guide. And I hope that you've been able to find things that you can apply through especially this is the end of the first week of these videos, and I hope that they have been good. Give me some comments and hearts and likes if you have enjoyed the things I've talked about this week. But you still are going to get stuck. You're going to get hung up. And that's why I am here to help you. I love working on it with people one-on-one. I love working with people in groups. I am one of those rare unicorns who can do both effectively and with the appropriate attention and things like that. So, as a lot of you know, I am doing a workshop in Phoenix. And I know not all of you are in Phoenix or are going to be in Phoenix. But I have some special offers and bonuses to offer you guys because I want you guys to be able to get something out of it. And it's not a big investment at all. It's an investment of time. It's an investment of taking action. And there is a financial investment, right? In Phoenix, I'm going to be talking about these similar types of things. The story, revenue, connection. And the elements of stories that connect with your audience, that get them all excited on the edge of their seats and ready to buy from you. And how to execute it. I'm going to do some live hot seats with people as well. But I wanted to offer these 2 extra bonuses for people who buy tickets for it. And if you're going, and this is for people who, I've started to think like, I can't broadcast it live on the internet, and I'm not going to do something like that. But I always, when I do these, I record them. And so what I'm going to do, if you go and buy a ticket before the workshop, before May 1st, I'm going to give you the recording of the event so that if you are attending, you can remember. But if you're not able to make it, you can watch and you can still learn. And then on top of that, like the week after we all get back from the event and all those kinds of things, we will hold a group call to just summarize and go over, review the things that we talked about, to see what kind of ahas and breakthroughs that you guys have had and what questions you might have had. And again, that helps whether you went to the event or not. And so if you go, I'll put the link in the comments. I'm promoting it, obviously, because I want to help serve as many people as I can. And I've got a good group that have already signed up. I want more to be there, or I want more to be able to learn from it. So if you're unable to go, if you are a business owner, if you're not able to travel to Phoenix, or you're not in that area, or those kinds of things, that is totally fine. If you are traveling to Phoenix but you come in later that day and you'll miss the workshops, that's why I'm doing this, to give you guys an opportunity to still learn and implement and make progress, because you have the stories within you. I want to show you the secrets to unlocking them and connecting them to growing your business and making yourself and your family more money while serving the people that you have developed this product for. So go and do it, like, for real. May 1st is, so the workshop is just 3 hours, and it's going to be fun. I'm not going to be lecturing the whole time or anything like that. It's going to be very interactive, but you'll get to meet and hang out with other entrepreneurs. I have some people who aren't going to the event that I'm kind of piggybacking this on. They're not in that program, but they're still going to go to Phoenix because they want to go to the workshop. That's how good the stuff is, that people are willing to travel to Phoenix just to hear it. Okay? But if you're unable, you can still get it. But I don't want you to spend your money if it's just shiny object syndrome and you're just like, ooh, I want this thing, and then you're never going to do anything with it. So if that's you, I don't want your money, okay? I want the people who are going to implement and take action, who are going to come, who are going to watch, who are going to participate, who are going to get on the call, all those things, because they want to take the next steps and get further in their business, okay? And all I'm doing for all of that, for 3 hours, some hot seats, teaching you all the stuff, giving you the recordings, and then hopping on a group call with you guys after the event. It's only $47. Like, if you're traveling to Phoenix and you're going to go out to dinner one of the nights, you're going to spend that on your dinner, right? So come spend 3 hours with me to learn and grow and make yourself more than $50. To get that investment back really quickly, okay? So, and after May 1st, that price is going up to $97, okay? And you won't get, if you wait to that point, you have to wait until after the event, and you can buy the recordings for full price, okay? So just go and do it. I'm gonna drop the link right. I didn't copy it. Let's see. Is it? Oh, nope. Hold on. I'm going to find it. 1 second. There. Go there and get your seat now, okay? So, just know, I'll say this in closing. You have the power here. You have the stories already in you. And hopefully you've been starting to see them over this last week. See little peaks of them. You're like, ooh, oh, hey. And you're having the little light bulbs flash in your mind. And you're figuring things out a little by little. Come to this workshop, and these little flash bulbs will be lightning strikes. And you will be crushing it afterwards. Okay? So, go out and change the world with your story. And when you share your stories, they increase the value of your products and services. Okay? So, what are you waiting for? Work on those stories. Increase your value by sharing and wrapping your stories up around your products and your services. good things will happen. Remember, it just takes one story. We'll see you on Monday.